Well, what a day. Huge day. A day where, if you're fortunate enough to enjoy one of the finer things in life, like a Cuban cigar, you know, good on you, because there's a lot of people that aren't so fortunate. And today I'm going to do a video and I'm going to sound like I'm having a bit of a whinge. And there's a reason for that, because I am having a bit of a whinge. And what I'm whinging about is something that a lot of people are feeling the pain on. And that's petrol prices. So, you know, I mean, today I got to learn a very valuable lesson when it comes to business. So I've got a lawn mowing business that I started as a secondary employment sort of opportunity, and I thought, go out, mow some lawns, make some money, you know, work hard, you'll be rewarded, because this is what our esteemed politicians continue to tell people, is that if you work hard, you will be rewarded. Well, I've got to tell you, I think that our esteemed politicians are all full of shit, and I'll tell you why. So, anyone that's started a business will know, and it doesn't matter what sort of business, some businesses are cheaper and easier to start up than others, and some are more expensive than others. But you go to start up a new business and there's no assistance, and that's fine, you know, do it for yourself. But you go to a bank to get a business loan, and the banks, they don't want to touch you. If you're trying to start a small business, they don't want to touch you. They'll tell you that you need a couple of years of statements so that you can get a business loan, or you need a comprehensive business plan. Now, a comprehensive business plan might be handy if you're looking at starting a multi-million-dollar company and you're saying to the bank, hey, listen, loan me a couple of $1 million. But when you're going to the bank and saying, do you reckon you could loan me $30,000, $40,000 or $50,000 so I can start a business? And they say, no, we can't do that. You have to take out a personal loan, which of course you pay more interest on. So that's one thing. So anyway, you go out and you think, yeah, okay, I'll give it a go. You go out, you spend your $30,000, $40,000 or $50,000 buying equipment to start a business. And it's hard. It's difficult getting up and running. Maybe if it was, you know, if you went out and you weren't doing another job and you had to really push to get it up and running, you may be a little bit more, wouldn't say fortunate's not the word, but you may be forced to really push hard to get it up and running, and then maybe it'll start. But if you've already got a full-time job and you're trying to, you know, start another business as a secondary employment, it can be really difficult to get going, trying to get established, you know. Anyway, so you go through the pain and you purchase the equipment, and you go out and you start mowing lawns, and you know, you don't know where to start. You don't know where to start. You don't know what to charge, because what you think you would like to charge, in fact, is nowhere near enough, because you start doing some work and, you know, you do a lawn for say $40 and it takes you over an hour, and you go, man, I've just driven 30 minutes to get here. I've busted my ass to mow this lawn and I've got $40 to show for it. Now, even if you get paid that as cash, that's not a lot of money. Not a lot of money at all. So you you find yourself a little bit stuck, and you do these jobs, and there's a lot of garbage jobs that you do, but you do them and you get paid peanuts, and then you start going, right, well, this just isn't working for me. So then you have to turn around and get, I guess, the courage to say to someone, hey, look, I need you to pay me $50 to $60 an hour to mow your lawn, which is a lot of money. But when you charge $50 or $60 an hour, you do a lot of work in that hour. You don't dawdle, because you're not there just going, oh, whatever, I'm already here, I'll just take my time and make the money. You've got another job to go to, so you really rip in and you work hard. And my experience has been, even with people initially who balked at the price, when I agreed to say $40 an hour, I said, right, I'll do it for $40 an hour, I'll finish the job. And they said, look, you've worked harder than $80. We need to give you more money. We think we should give you $120. To which I said, well, this is why I said $60 an hour, because I believe that your lawn is probably worth $120, and I know I can knock it over in about 2 to 2.5 hours. So, you sort of work it out. But anyway, so that's fine. You figure out your prices, you start to get some clients. Then you get hit with the weather and you can't mow lawns. Now, I don't want to go to somewhere that I haven't been able to go to for 5 weeks because of the weather and say, look, I'm going to charge you double because there's double the work in it. So I have been just doing it for the same price. Now, maybe that's my fault. Maybe that's something that I just need to, grow a set and say, look, I'm going to have to charge you more. Wouldn't be double, but whatever the case is. But I don't like to do that. If I, am doing lawns for somebody and it's $100 lawn, I like to charge $100. Sometimes it might take me a little bit longer. Sometimes I might do it a little bit quicker. So the way I see it is it's all going to average out. But then, slowly, petrol prices creep into the equation. Now, every politician in the world is blaming the war in Ukraine for petrol prices. Now, I don't know what it's been like in other countries. However, here in Australia, petrol prices have been creeping up slowly before the war in the Ukraine. When I first started doing mowing, I was paying, and I've only been in the game for roughly 12 months, and only really sort of started doing a fair bit in the last 8 months. But I was paying, from memory, don't quote me on it, but roughly, $1.15 to $1.30 a litre for diesel, and about maybe $1.60 or $1.70 a litre for premium unleaded that I put in my lawnmowers and also used to make up my two-stroke fuel. Well, today, and this is the reason for this video, and this is why it's going to sound like I'm whinging, even though, I'm drinking a really nice whiskey that was bought for me as a present, but also smoking a Cuban cigar, or about to smoke a Cuban cigar. And there's people far less fortunate than myself who would be feeling the pain of petrol prices. Everyone in the world, by the sound of it, is feeling the pain on petrol prices. But here I am, trying to do what the government says. Work hard. The harder you work, the better you'll be rewarded, is what they say. Well, I went and mowed lawns today, being a day off from my regular day job, and could have went and done an overtime shift at my regular day job. However, give away what would be pretty decent money to go and do lawns, because I had promised people that I would be there with the break in the weather to mow their lawns. So, despite the numerous calls to go to my other job, I went and mowed lawns, which I was happy to do because I quite enjoy doing it. However, today, I went and mowed some lawns, and after my first 2 lawns, which took me about a bit over 3 hours to do, and factor into this about an hour of travel, I went to a service station to get fuel. I needed fuel for my Ford Ranger, which takes diesel, and I needed unleaded fuel for my mowers. So I put in $100 of diesel, $100 of diesel in my ute, which got me to 3/4 of a tank. Didn't even fill my ute. Then I filled up I've got a 0-turn mower, and I filled that up out of my 20-litre jerry can. Still had some petrol left over in the jerry can. Then I put petrol into the jerry can, plus I've got a little 5-litre container, just a petrol drum that I use for my push mower. $45 I put in to those 2 containers for unleaded. I spent 4 hours this morning of my time to basically pay for fuel. That was it. That's all I got. $145 just to pay for fuel. Now that fuel would probably go close to doing me maybe 2 days of mowing, like serious mowing. Don't know. It's really hard to sort of calculate, but this doesn't even include things like 2-stroke oil, whippersnipper cord, the cost of the loan that I have to pay off my equipment, the insurance, the interest, the running costs of maintenance on the vehicle. None of this is factored in. Maintenance on my whippersnippers. I've got two whippersnippers, weed whackers, plus a combi system, all needing a service, and I've got a 0-turn mower needing a service. I've got a push mower needing a service. Like, this is going to cost me hundreds of dollars. Plus I have to drive to where my dealer is, which the dealer that I trust to service my equipment, especially my steel equipment, is, I've got about an hour and a half drive. So factor in the price of diesel once more. So, my frustration today was I contemplated actually giving the entire thing away. I thought, you know what? I'm going to say no more until petrol prices come down, because they're tipped to go up. Like, we're talking, I paid $2.24.9 a litre for diesel, and I paid $2.22.9, I think, for 95 octane unleaded. It's just, how are people going to afford to continue this way without passing on the cost to the consumer or to your clients? Because I don't want to have to raise my prices. People are happy with what I charge. They're happy with the work I do. Now, if I start jacking the price up to try to cover fuel costs, those people may well just turn around and go, you know what, I can't afford it. And I know that they'll be struggling because they're going to be going to the supermarket and having to pay inflated prices for food and everything else. And I'll give you an example. My wife and I like a particular Makona coffee. And that Makona coffee, not a big jar, was, I think we used to pay a very short time ago, $16 for a jar. And, we would buy it at that price. If we seen it on special, we'd buy 2 jars. But if we run out, and on special, you get it for $13, which to us was like, oh yeah, right, that's great. So anyway, we were paying $16 for a jar for this Makona coffee. Overnight, with no warning, no reason, that same jar of Makona went to $20.15. Sorry, 50 cents. It went up $4.50 overnight with no explanation. And this was prior to petrol prices jacking through the roof. So get back to the petrol prices. Just to clarify, I was paying roughly $1, let's call it $1.30. Let's say $1.30 a litre for diesel. I'm now paying $2.25 a litre. So that's 95 cents a litre, isn't it? I'm not real bright. I'm 95 cents a litre more for diesel. And your unleaded has gone up by, let's call it 65 cents a litre. So, how do you absorb the cost? Meanwhile, you've got smug fucking politicians like Scott Morrison and Angus Taylor sitting there saying, "Oh no. We're not looking at toning down or getting rid of a fuel excise. No, because," and Angus Taylor said this the other day, I heard it on the radio. His exact words were, "No, that's not something that we've looked at because it won't make any difference. It won't make any real difference. We know that people are feeling the pain at the pumps. We know that," is what he said. How the fuck would you know, mate? You don't pay for your petrol. I pay for your petrol. Mr. fucking taxpayer pays for your petrol, you grub. And you want to sit there and say that you feel our pain at the pump. You don't feel shit, mate. You and your cronies don't feel a thing for people who are struggling. And like I said, today was deflating for me as somebody who's trying to start a business, who's trying to really generate a bit of second income. Today was the most deflating day. The lawns that I did today were particularly tough lawns. They were long, they were wet. One of them had dog shit through the entire yard, and they were hilly, and they were just messy, nasty lawns. Now, what's funny is I'm getting a phone call right now for overtime from my regular job tomorrow, and I can't go because I've promised someone else that I'm going to go and do their lawns for them. So I'm giving up, let's call it $600 before tax to go and do a job that's going to be worth $200 pre-tax, less costs. So, I'm just shooting myself in the foot, but because I promised this person that I would come and do this job before the forecast rain, this is what's happening. And you've got slimy politicians sitting in Canberra or wherever they are saying, "We feel your pain, Australia. We understand that you're hurting Australia." And it'd be the same in the UK and America, probably everywhere. But Angus Taylor said, "Oh, we spend the money on roads, Well, anyone that's driven around New South Wales in the recent, let's call it a couple of years, and depending on what shire you're in, our roads are garbage. All right, absolute garbage. The Hume Highway, the main road between Sydney and Melbourne, is a shit fight. It's absolute garbage. Now, I don't know what money they spend on roads, but I'm telling you, it's fuck all. In fact, I think that they spend as much money on roads as what they do disaster recovery, which is fuck all. The only money that they spend on roads is roads that you're going to have to pay for, toll roads. They probably put it towards toll roads so that some fucking rich mate of theirs can sit there and charge you $5.50 every time you drive past a fucking checkpoint. We are conned. We're conned by these pieces of shit sitting in Canberra. And I'm not saying that one side's particularly going to be better than the other, but what I tell you is 2006, I believe it was around 2006, 2007, John Howard, Liberal politician, Prime Minister of Australia. Fuel prices went over $2 a litre for unleaded fuel. I don't know if diesel got to that point because I never had a diesel vehicle at the time, but over $2 a litre. A Labor government gets voted in, somehow magically down, fuel prices drop. Well, lo and behold, 14, 15 years later, Liberal government, fuel prices have skyrocketed past $2 a litre. In fact, they're tipped, from what I can hear, they're tipped to be hitting $2.50 a litre. Now, I tell you what, if you're a truck driver that drives down the Hume Highway and you like fat blokes with a beard, $20 is $20, I tell you. You may see me at a local truck stop trying to make some money because I don't know how else to do it. I've got to tell you, this is tough. It's tough for me, and I'll guarantee you it's tough for other business owners. And, I just hope that at the next federal election there's change. Hope that the federal government pulls their finger out of their ass and starts realising that not everyone earns in excess of $200,000 a year and can absorb the cost. You know, there's people out there doing it really, really tough. And our politicians need to fucking wake up and listen to it. You know, I don't know, maybe we should not vote. Nobody vote at the next federal election. What are they going to do then? They'll be fucked. They're not duly elected. How do they hold a seat if they haven't been elected to hold a seat? Anyway, look, it's tough times ahead. Interest rates are going to be going up. That's another joy. Scott Morrison, once again. People losing houses in bushfires. So instead of getting builders to go out and rebuild houses from bushfires, he encourages people to borrow $125,000 to do an extension on a home or get a new build, as in like a new estate build. I don't know about a rebuild. I think it was a new build. So that he could give you $25,000. If you jump through hoops, you could get $25,000 to get a builder to stimulate the building economy, where a builder looked at your job and went, yeah, that's going to cost you an extra 25 grand because, well, lo and behold, timber, too expensive. Timber doesn't grow on trees, you know. So, you know, 25 grand, fuck you. Absolute waste of time, waste of money. That money could have went somewhere decent. But we're going to stimulate a building economy that didn't need stimulated because there's people waiting for houses to be rebuilt by bushfires. Floods, have a look at the floods. People need massive amounts of work done. You know, you don't need to send people to the bank to borrow 125 grand. He said, now's never been a better time to borrow. Now's never been a better time to go and see your bank. Go and see your bank, you'll get the money. Well, that's great. Now interest rates are going to go up. People are paying more money for food, more money for petrol. How do you think they're going to afford their house? They won't be able to. They'll have to sell it so some rich bastard can buy it and rent it back to you. How good's that? Yep, good thinking. Good thinking, federal government. Really like it. Anyway, that's my rant. It's just disappointing, really. I hope things change. I hope things get better and hope everybody gets through this tough spell, you know. Our economy is not soaring. Don't listen to Liberal voters who say, you know, our economy's going gangbusters. What a load of shit. Like I said, maybe if you earn over $200,000 a year, you know, or if you're a millionaire, maybe the economy's great for you. I don't know. Have you got shares? Shares in Woolies? If you've got shares in Woolies, oh, the economy's fantastic. Shares in Macquarie Bank, fantastic. You're soaring. You're doing well. But for people that don't have shares, for people that are working for wages and people that are living basically week to week, paycheck to paycheck, the economy's not fucking going good. The economy is shit. Anyway, that's it. I'm done. Be interested on people's thoughts. I don't do the whole subscribe and like and all that because I don't believe I'm that interesting that people would want to follow me. This is a random video for me, but if you've got anything to add to the conversation, I'd be happy to hear from you. I don't know, maybe do a counter video if you disagree with what I've had to say. Anyway, I hope everyone out there in Australia and across the world takes care, and fuck Vladimir Putin too. And Donald Trump, you go eat a dick as well, you faggot. Really just, the pair is just one for each. Righto, see you.